Hey guys, I'm sure you heard of the Grenfell fire recently that claimed the lives of like 30 people, possibly more, and injured way more and destroyed the homes of like so many people. Well, there's a lot of anger right now, justifiably so. There's a lot of people protesting, hundreds right now, calling for Theresa May's like head almost. And you have instigators like Jeremy Corbyn, people on the far left, the progressives, people like Antifa, whatever. And of course they're coming in with their narrative immediately, pushing the whole fucking socialism shit. They're like Jeremy Corbyn, and they're like calling for rich people to like give up their homes and give up their property, for the government to like siege people's property and give it up to people who need it. It's like, you know what, bad things happen all the time. Doesn't mean you have to completely destroy your society's like laws and rules in order to like give a few people some homes. You know what I mean? Like, there's many people who gladly, all the people calling for that, they should be taking people into their home, and often they're not. They're just like, no, take that rich person's home and give it to you. It's like, no, people have property. You don't have to destroy property rights because of, you know, tragedies. You don't destroy, the foundation of what your society is essentially built on. Like, property rights are very important. This is why we're like, doing very well. This is why Western countries do very well in society, right? So to disassemble that and make us into like what the Soviet Union used to be, or what Venezuela is pretty much like. Jeremy Corbyn, he like, oh, Hugo Chavez and those people, Venezuela, they're amazing people, giving all their people this. Like, look at Venezuela now. Like, look at them now. You don't want to become like this. It's like, do people, do his supporters like look at the news? Do they see what's going on in the world in like communist countries? Like, really, do they want to follow that? But but yeah, they're blaming capitalism for this, right? And it's not capitalism's fault. If anything, it's crony capitalism and corporatism's fault, right? So a lot of the cladding put on these buildings were, first of all, it was for like green energy shit. So a lot of it was pretty much like unnecessary. You didn't need to put it on there. So you just put something that's extremely flammable on the building for absolutely nothing. It cost millions of dollars. And yes, you gave millions of dollars to contractors who are on private sector, but they're going to the government for their money, right? That's what people always forget. It's like you're going to these are government buildings, right? And if you're expecting governments to give out money well, and to, not pocket some of it for themselves, because of course they're going to cheap out, right? Of course they're going to cheap out on that stuff, and they're going to keep some for themselves. If you're getting, that's what happens. Is you don't want to take government money. You never take that shit. And for second of all, why are there so many like first and second, or mainly first generation, like immigrants in these housing complexes in the government, right? Why are there so many? Now, I'm not trying to be coarse or anything, but you should not be bringing people who need to be on assistance or need to be on housing into your country immediately, right? Uh, like, you're not helping them. You're not helping your society, because now they're a burden on your society. And look, you're not helping them because a lot of them fucking died in that building now, because you want to import tons of people from these countries, from the Middle East, from Asia, and throw them in the ghettos and throw them in housing and hope for the best. Right? So they don't give a shit. They're going to like push the whole, they're trying to, Jeremy Corbyn, all these people are trying to use this to make Theresa May look even worse, which she's doing a good job of that herself, but to make Brexit even softer, so then there's even less of an effect of it, right? And this is what they're moving to. And then what? They're going to bring in more migrants, millions more, 100,000 more, to build more housing from the government. And you're going to expect that housing to, be good and sustainable and everything, right? Because it's not going to be. This is why you need to leave things up to the private sector and up to the free market, because you let people make their own cost benefit analysis. Like, if I'm going to move into a home, and first of all, don't bring in people that need welfare, but if I'm going to move in a home and there's no sprinklers, there's no this, and I know it going in, then that's my fault when a fire happens and I don't have a sprinkler, and then you can't go raging the government and then all this stuff, and then you have to get rid of people's property rights and all these things. Like, no, you let people make their own cost benefit analysis. And even the government made one in this instance. Yes, they didn't put sprinklers. First of all, they shouldn't put the cladding, but they didn't put sprinklers because that would have cost a lot more, and that would have raised housing prices a lot more. This sounds like a mean argument, but it would have raised housing prices a lot more, and then that would have forced people to maybe move further away from their jobs, so they would have had to commute, right? People are like, oh, you would have had to commute. That would have saved a lot of lives, but people die while commuting. So if you were taking into account all the people who now have to drive to work because they can't live closer to the lower rent housing, then they're going to die in the car accident. And maybe more people over time, if you calculate it, will die. So, if I don't want to look at people like numbers, but you have to take these costs into effect. Like, we could all slow down driving. Like, I'm sure you heard of Sam Harris, this example. We could all drive at 10 miles an hour, and that would stop many deaths, many car accidents, and it would, a lot of deaths. But we're not going to do that, right? Because we like to drive fast. We like to get to places, point A, point B quickly. It's convenient. And second of all, more people could actually die from that as well by slowing down, because, you have an ambulance and they're trying to get someplace really quickly, and now they can't. Now this person is going to die. And a cop's trying to get somewhere really fast, now they can't. Now there's going to be a huge shootout. And, look at that thing that happened to that Republican who got shot. Yeah, there's no cops there, and they couldn't get there on time, like, to say the Capitol Police wasn't there. Yeah, there would have been a huge massacre, right? So, we take these into effect or into account. So don't direct your hate towards capitalism and these things. Direct your hate towards the government having too much power and control over your money and your resources. Because that's what it is. It's central planning. They're retrofitting these buildings in, like, all over the place with all this stuff, like this cladding, all over that city. So now they're going to have to go and spend even more money to, like, either remove it or install all these new things to make it safe. So, stop relying on your government to make decisions for you, right? And because they're often, not very good at city planning. One of the reasons we're reliant on vehicles and all these things is because of our governments, how they planned our cities. We're like, of course they're going to cater to, car companies or whatever, because they're the ones going up to them and lobbying them. That's one of the problems with governments, is they have too much power. Private companies can go to them and now lobby, but don't blame the private companies, because they're just, the government is a drug dealer. So the private companies they're just trying to get their fix. So you blame the drug dealer, the one handing everything out. Let people spend their own money their own way, how they see fit, instead of listening to these people, because they're not going to help you, right? They're just going to keep building more housing like this that's shitty. More people are going to die. They're going to keep importing more people so then they can build more shitty housing, so then more people are dependent upon them. Like, why are they importing people that are dependent upon them right away? And another thing about this is, it's amazing the outrage with this, and the lack of outrage over the Manchester and London thing. Everybody's like, oh, we need to do something. We all need to gather and do this. But, as soon as terrorists kill, everybody's like, oh, nobody react, blah, blah, blah. Just stay calm. Don't jump to conclusions, whatever. But yeah, I always find that hilarious. But if you like my content, subscribe, and have a great day. See ya.